Hi again guys, and welcome to the next episode in a series that we haven't done in quite some time. Many of you who have subscribed to the channel recently will probably have never seen these videos. Some of you may have checked them out in the playlist, and as you can see, the name of this series is Dirtmasters Unplugged. And this is a series where we take a vehicle which isn't in rally form, or at least doesn't have a rally form on the game, and we turn it into a rally spec vehicle, be it Pikes Peak style, WRC style, rallycross, etc. And in this particular pick we're doing one of our extreme builds, a Pikes Peak style monster for, as you can see of course, the Dodge Viper. This is the 2002 Premium Viper, and it's kind of a shock really that you can fit this with dirt tyres, considering how many other similar vehicles cannot be fitted with dirt tyres. It's a very arbitrary system when it comes to what cars are and aren't allowed to drive on the dirt, and that's a shame because there are loads of vehicles that deserve to, which just can't, even some all-wheel drive vehicles. So, as far as the visuals, as you can see, I've fitted the rear wing, I've also fitted the flat floor to increase the downforce and the PP, and I've also fitted the body kit on this one, which in the case of the Viper is basically just a little carbon fibre chin splitter underneath. Apart from that, do whatever you want to it visually, colour, etc. So, of course, we'll go over to the mechanical tune setup first of all, and then of course take it out to a dirt track to see how something as crazy as a Viper can perform as a rally car. Now, as far as these builds go, I don't always fully tune the vehicle. I will often choose numbers that look impressive rather than necessarily just doing everything to it. And that's what I've done on this occasion. As you can see, it's a very rounded off vehicle, rounded off weight distribution, weight, power, PP, etc. Now obviously you want dirt tyres or snow tyres if you're planning to take on said track. As far as suspension, we've got the ride height on 110 front and rear. I've got the springs on 6 on the front, 750 on the rear, the dampers and anti-roll on 3, so you've got quite a lot of travel on the suspension. It's high and relatively soft, so you can absorb those jumps pretty well. The camber and toe we've got neutral. We'll come back to the gearbox in just a second. As far as the diff, and with a rally vehicle, obviously I would definitely recommend messing around and finding out what works best for you personally, but I've gone for halfway on the initial torque, as high as possible for acceleration, and as low as possible for braking. As far as power, as you can see, we're not running the fully upgraded power. We do, however, have an oil change, and the only thing that I haven't fitted, apart from of course the NOS, is the manifold, and that's basically to round it off to 1100 horsepower, because that's the amount I wanted the car to have. I'm running maximum downforce, a full weight loss package, and then we've increased it by 45 kilos of ballast to round us off to 1300 kilos, and I've put that all the way to the front to make the car a little bit more tail happy. It's a 50-50 split, but still, that's closer to being tail happy than it originally is, which is kind of ironic for a car with such a huge front-mounted engine. As far as the gearbox, we've got a super close ratio gearbox compared to how much power and torque it's got to work with. An auto setting of 180, that is, as you can see, and for the individual gears, 3.9, 2.6, 1925, 1.5, 1.2 and 1025, with a final drive of 3.1. And as you can see, this particular build that I've opted for rounds off pretty nicely to 680 pp, which is of course extremely high, but this vehicle is more for fun really rather than necessarily competition, because of course for one thing it's rear wheel drive, which isn't exactly ideal, but there's nothing we can do about that. So that's it overall for the mechanical setup. Now let's take it out to, of course, a dirt track to see if it can hold its own as a rally car. Now overall, of course, a vehicle with 1100 horsepower and a huge amount of torque as well, going through the rear wheels especially, isn't necessarily going to be the most beginner friendly of rally vehicles, but I have to say this Viper actually really impressed me by just how well it handles itself as a rally car. Now, as I said, this is designed to be more of a fun tune, just the kind of thing you pull out and throw it around for just a bit of fun. It doesn't really matter how quick it is, it's just insane, and that's the whole point. If, however, you do use it for rallying, especially against other rear-wheel drive rally vehicles, it will actually fare pretty well. Because even though, as you'd expect, it does wheel spin, especially uphill, it's got so much power and torque that it's almost like it just overcomes the wheel spin and goes extremely quick anyway. The handling is also very good, although of course you do need to be careful how much counterbalance you get around a corner. In other words, be careful how far out you let the tail drift, because otherwise the car will go all the way and spin out, of course. An all-wheel drive vehicle wouldn't suffer from that as much, but for now we can't do that kind of drivetrain swap, which is unfortunate. But overall, if you decide to use this build on your Viper, a pretty niched and kind of unusual build, obviously I hope you find it fun in particular, maybe even competitive, and if you'd like to keep up with other builds like this in the future, be sure to hit subscribe down below for that. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.